In this activity, you will install the footings under the foundation walls, as well as the footings that are under the 4-inch diameter steel columns and the block pilasters. In the foundation plan, the footings are represented by these dashed lines. You will notice that these dashed lines are on the outside and inside of the foundation wall. The footings under the foundation wall are called continuous footings. You will also see dashed lines under the columns for the 4-inch diameter pipe columns. These footings are called isolated footings. These footings also appear under the 4x16 block pilasters. Again, these are isolated footings in the foundation plan. The lines for the footings are dashed because the footings are underground. The function of the footings is to distribute the load of the building. The load is distributed from the roof down through the studs in the exterior and interior walls. The load is further distributed down to the foundation walls. It is also distributed through the pipe columns that are in the foundation, and the load will ultimately be distributed through the footings into the ground. So the function of the footings is to distribute the load of the building through the foundation walls into the ground. The first footings you are going to install will be the footings under the foundation wall. The information for the footing under the foundation wall can be found on page 14 of your construction documents. This object here is the footing in the foundation wall detail that is on page 14. The continuous footings are the foundation or the base for the foundation walls. In order to create the continuous footing object, we will need to know the thickness and the width of the footing. For this project, the thickness of the footing is 6 inches. The width of the footing is 18 inches. The 18 is calculated from the 10-inch foundation wall, and the footing extends 4 inches in front and 4 inches behind the 10-inch foundation wall. So the thickness of this footing is 6 inches. The width of this footing is 18 inches. The material the footing is made of is concrete. To create the continuous footing object, you will need to select your Structure tab. In the Structure tab, in the Foundation panel of the ribbon, you will need to select the option that says Structural Foundation Wall. In the Properties, we will need to see if there is a continuous footing that is 6 inches thick and 18 inches wide. So in the Properties, we will click on the down arrow to see if we have that option. And currently we do not have a 6-inch thick by 18-inch wide footing, so we will need to create one. So here we will select the Edit Type button. For the type, we will duplicate, we will rename it to say 18 inches by 6 inches and click on OK. We will change the width to 18 inches and press enter. The foundation thickness we will change to 6 inches and press enter. We will click OK at the bottom right corner of the Type Properties dialog box. Now in the Properties, you should have a wall foundation bearing footing that is 18 by 6. In order to apply the continuous footing to the foundation wall, in your project browser, select the TOF floor plan view. So double click on the TOF floor plan view. You are to go to the Structure tab. In the Foundation panel of the ribbon, you will select Wall. In the Properties, you will select the bearing footing 18 inches by 6 inches. You will take your cursor and move it into the drawing area and select the foundation walls. When you select the foundation walls, you will notice that the footing object has been applied. Footings are hosted by walls. After applying the continuous footing to the foundation walls, you will select your View tab and select 3D View in the Create panel of the ribbon. In your View cube to the top right corner, you will click on this bottom corner here on your View cube. This will allow you to see the bottom of the building information model, and you should see the continuous footing that has been applied to the foundation wall. The next footings to be installed will be the footings that are under the 4-inch diameter pipe columns. These are what are called isolated footings. The dimensions for the footings under the pipe columns are 21 inches long by 21 inches wide by 12 inches thick. This footing is made of concrete. To install the isolated footings, go to your project browser and double click on the TOF floor plan view. This will bring you to the top of footing floor plan view. You will select your Structure tab In the foundation panel, you will select Isolated. You may get a message that says no structural foundation family is loaded. Would you like to load one? You will select Yes. In the Load Family dialog box, you will scroll until you see the folder that says Structural Foundations. You will select that folder and click on Open. In the Structural Foundations folder, you will select the family that says Footing Rectangular. You will select that family and click on Open. In your properties, you are looking to see if you have a footing that is 21 inches long by 21 inches wide by 12 inches thick. In this configuration, we don't see that particular type of footing, so we will need to create it. So here you will select your Edit Type button. You will select the Duplicate button. You will change the name to say 21 inches by 21 inches by 12 inches and click on OK. You will change the width to 21 inches and press Enter. You will change the length to 21 inches, press Enter, and the thickness will be 12 inches and press Enter. You will select OK at the bottom right corner of the Type Properties dialog box. In the properties, you should have a footing that is 21 inches by 21 inches by 12 inches. This isolated footing will be located at the columns. Specifically, they will be located at the 4-inch diameter pipe columns. So in the ribbon, you should have an option that says At Columns. You will click on the At Columns option. You will take your cursor and move it into the drawing area, and you will put your cursor on the first column, and you will click on it. You should see a gray footing that will appear. On your keyboard, you will hold down your Control key, and what you should see is a plus sign that will appear near your cursor. Once you see the plus, you will go and select the other columns that are in your model. This will allow you to select multiple items and apply the footing to all 4 columns. Once you see the image of the footing where the columns are located, up in the ribbon you will select Finish. This should apply the footings to the bottom of your 4-inch diameter pipe columns. After installing the isolated footings under your 4-inch diameter pipe columns, go to your View tab. In the Create section, select 3D View, and you should be able to see the isolated footings under each of the 4-inch diameter pipe columns. The next footings to be installed will be the footings that support the 4x16 block pilaster. The footings under the 4x16 block pilaster will be isolated footings to support the structural column. The dimensions for the isolated footing for the block pilasters will be derived from the continuous footings of the foundation wall. The footings for the foundation wall extend beyond the wall 4 inches on each side. So we will add 4 inches on each side of the 4x16 block pilaster to get the dimensions necessary for the isolated footing. We will also use a thickness of 6 inches to match the footing that is supporting the foundation wall. So the footing under the block pilasters are going to be 24 inches long. What that will include is the fact that the block pilaster is 16 inches long. Then we will add 4 inches to the outside here, so 16 plus 4 will give you 20, and then we'll add an additional 4 inches to this side, which 20 plus 4 will give you 24. The isolated footing for the block pilaster will be 12 inches wide. Since the pilaster is 4 inches wide, we will add 4 inches from this point in this direction. That gives us 4 plus 4, which is 8. Then we will add an additional 4 inches from this point to here. That will give us 8 plus 4, which is 12. Again, the thickness of this particular isolated footing will be the same as the thickness of the continuous footing used to support the foundation wall. In this case will be 6 inches. To add the isolated footings to the block pilaster, in the project browser, activate the top of footing floor plan view. In this view, you should be able to see the block pilasters on the left and the right side of the building information model in the foundation. You are to go to your Structure tab. In the Foundation panel of the ribbon, you are to select Isolated. In the Properties, you will select Edit Type. In the Type Properties dialog box, you will select the Duplicate button. You will change the name of this footing to 24 by 12 by 6 and click OK. You will click on the OK button to the bottom right of the Type Properties dialog box. For the width parameter, you will change this value to 12 inches. Press Enter. The length parameter you will change to 24 inches and press Enter. The thickness parameter you will change to 6 inches and press Enter. You will click on the OK button to the bottom right of the Type Properties dialog box. To install the isolated footing to the block pilaster, in the ribbon you will select at column. You will move your cursor to the block pilaster and select it. You will hold your control key down on your keyboard. You should see the plus symbol appear near your cursor, and you will click on the block pilaster to the right of the building information model. Well, that will apply the isolated footings under both block pilasters. Once you have done this, click on the finish in your ribbon. To view the continuous footings and the isolated footings in your building information model, you will select the View tab. In the Create panel of the ribbon, you will select 3D View, and here you should see the continuous footings under your foundation walls. You will also see the isolated footings under your pipe columns, as well as the isolated footings under your block pilasters.